about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics.
Harambe YouTube, it is your boy Uncle Blurred here to talk about Smile for the Camera #2 from IDW Dark. This book really is dark. Trigger warning, this book does discuss self-harm. So if that's something that really triggers you, turn away now. But yeah, I read issue #1 and I was intrigued, but I wasn't quite sold because the authors did something I think which is commendable. It has a very distinct style that doesn't cater to the reader. And they were like, we're going to tell the story that you want to tell this way, and we're going to make you work for the answers. We're going to make you read this book to understand what's going on. And so for me, issue #1 was kind of a slog at first, but then the gruesome ending of it was the payoff. The ending was gruesome. It is a horror book. But it was like, it started off with a scene of, you have this model landing in New York. She looks out the window. She sees this creepy guy smiling. This airport worker. He smiles at her. And he calmly walks into a spinning airplane blade. That's how the book starts. And then there are hints at what the horror is going to be. The predatory model scene, the predatory photographers, mental health, all of these things are constantly bubbling underneath the surface, building a tension. And when you get to the end, you know, it switches from something that bubbles under to something that is right in your face in a gruesome way. And the model that we met in issue #1, Cammy, by the end of the issue, the person we think is the protagonist, something takes over her. She starts having these horrible visions, and she, in the bedroom, stares at her roommate, gives a big creepy smile, and jams a hanger into her brain. And so, yeah, it was, like I said, it was a big beginning. Bubbling under, and it's a big book too. A lot of, it's a very wordy book for this age in comics. And then it was a big horror piece once you get there. And the way that they introduce the characters, they don't say that it is in a particular era, but the way they introduce Cammy, the first protagonist, #1, if you will, was through a MySpace type format. So you know this takes place in the 20-aughts, and it has, you know, it looks just like her MySpace, just like MySpace used to. It has a quote, it has a picture, let's log in, her name, blog entries, music, you know, all of this stuff. You meet her, and then you get back, and she is the one who saw the Cammy harm herself. There are going to be spoilers in this, but you see, like, you know, she's dealing with the trauma of having witnessed that. And this predatory agent is like, yeah, stuff happens. We need to get on to the next book. You have to be in London tomorrow. Very cold and callous. And then you get to see, you know, her trauma of having to relive what happened to Cammy and the next. And I think the thing that really, the panel that really kind of defines this book to me is the top panel here, where you see the girls packing up to head to the London Fashion Month, and they're packing up their stuff, something very mundane, stepping over a pool of blood of one of their colleagues that died within the last 24 hours. And the agency is like, yeah, we gotta get there. And throughout the book, the photographers are like, yeah, we gotta get there. And Freya keeps having these visions and flashbacks of what she's seeing. Freya is the model who watched what happened to Cammy. And so she is the main protagonist of this book. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too many details because I don't want to ruin it for you, but she has kind of caught the eye of this very predatory photographer. And he puts her in a situation on a photo shoot where he intentionally aggravates her and unnerves her to get a response. And this kind of sets off a, mental health cascade to the end of the book. And I'm not going to tell you what happens in the book. I will just say, though, that there is a pattern where you meet a character, you watch their journey, and something big happens in the end. But all throughout this book as well. And after reading number 1 and noticing the pattern and the rhythm of the writing, it makes all the scenes in between the first and last page more palpable, because you know that there is this, as of right now, unseen monster. And you don't know, is it the agency? Is it the photographers? Is it the other models? What is this monster? What is causing these cascading cause and effect events? And it started with the airport worker who walked into the engine. And then Cammy. And let's just say, yeah, spoiler, we're going to have a new protagonist next issue, if you get what I'm saying. For me, Smile for the Camera is one of the best horror books. One of the more striking horror books I think I've read, maybe since Children of the Black Sun, and the way that built tension. And the aesthetic of it, too, is jarring. It reminds me of this movie, if you're my age, I think it came out in the late 90s, had Rose McGowan in it. It was called Jawbreaker. And it was about these friends who accidentally kill one of their best friends, and they try to hide it. And the aesthetic of the movie is very bubbly, very bright, very feminine pop star, while telling this very, very dark story of murder and manipulation, which makes the dark parts of the story that much more dark. You're seeing it against this bubbly backdrop. And Smile for the Camera from IDW Dark is one of the more effective horror stories I have read in comics. And that's saying a lot, because at first, I wasn't quite on board. I was intrigued, but I wasn't quite there. Now, I'm getting issue 3, 4. I'm gonna buy them as long as this writing team keeps putting them out. And just to show some love to the writing team here, let's see if I can find some credits. So the story is by Hannah Rose May. The art is by Mariana Puglia. The colorist is Deborah Kelly. The design and lettering is Brian Collett. The senior group editor is Heather Antos. The associate editor is Bixie Matthew. And yeah, they did a tremendous job with this, effectively setting the tone, bringing you into this world without spoon-feeding you stuff, and deciding to tell the story the way it's meant to be told, not to necessarily send books flying off the shelves, but to serve the art. And as an artist myself, I appreciate that. I am a musician, and I feel like my job is to create an emotion with the songs that I write, be it the jingle at the beginning of my videos. I want to create a friendly, welcoming atmosphere and set the tone what's going to happen. If I'm playing in a bar, I want to keep people dancing and happy. If I'm playing at church, I want to bring people into a space to where they can settle their minds and receive a message. And, it's about knowing the purpose of your art, what you want to accomplish with it, and doing it. And they really did a great job on Smile for the Camera from IDW Dark. This is number 2. Number 3 comes out in May. Get it at your local comic book store. And I suggest right now, get it while you can. Issues number 1 and 2. If you like horror and great writing will not be disappointed. And we'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep reading books, and if you'd like to help your Uncle Blurred out, you can buy me a coffee at the QR code down below. See you next time.